Hello, YouTube and valued viewers. Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to the Knife and EDC channel. Today, TGI Friday, July 10th, 2026, which means two things. One, it's time for a Fun Knife Friday. That's where we show a knife that gives us a little joy, gives us some fun. A knife chat by Tobias open tag, and we're going to do a second tag from Tobias Gibson, and that is the 10 by 10 by 10 knives hashtag. Show 10 knives, 10 straight days, talk about them for around 10 minutes. So I think I've got a pretty fun knife right here. I say it's fun because I enjoy cooking, I like to eat, and anytime I can practice my knife skills using a chef's knife, a santoku, a paring knife, what have it, I enjoy that. Now, this knife right here is a mid-tech custom. This knife was made by a friend of mine just down a few miles down the road in the next town over in southern central Indiana. This is a 6-inch chef's knife, and the knife maker made this knife, sculpted the Corian handles, stock removed the AEB-L steel, used a laser to etch his logo in the knife, and then also did the leather work and made this awesome drawer sheath. So let's go ahead and pull this out and check out the 6-inch chef's knife by Ed Soul Crafts. Now, Ed is a friend of mine who I guess I've known now for about 4 years. I think we met in 2022, might have been 2021, right after the pandemic, and through a mutual friend of ours. And Ed owns a small shop in Whiteland, Indiana, where he is practicing his knife making skills, both forging and stock removal, in the hopes of maybe one day becoming an ABS certified journeyman. Now, if you know anything about knife making or forging knives, you know that basically there is a group that likes to focus on forging work, and that is the American Bladesmith Society, and there is groups that focus on stock removal. In the ABS, you can become a journeyman after you pass a series of tests and make several knives for judging and inspection, and then you can eventually become a master bladesmith, which includes the complete handcrafting of what is called a Corian dagger. And you can look that up and check out some of the various styles and features of the Corian dagger. But let's just say it basically entails every knife making skill there is in order to successfully complete the project. So Ed is well on his way into becoming a journeyman for ABS. He's still honing and working on his skills. And one of the models that he makes and offers on his website for custom work is the 6-inch chef's knife. Now, the actual blade length on this, if we set it down, you can see that the actual blade length on this is just about at 6.5 inches. All right, and the overall length of the knife comes in at about 11 5/8 inches. So you've got about a 5-inch handle to hold this knife and use. Okay, 6.5-inch blade, 5-inch handle. Now, as with a good chef's knife, the balance of this knife should be right at the intersection of the handle and the tang. And there you go right there. Why? Because most chefs, when they do their cooking, will pinch grip the knife with their index finger and their thumb. And they balance the knife in order to make their chopping cuts and slices between the blade and the handle. You want all of the weight or the center of gravity of that knife to be right there at the pinch point location for the knife. And Ed has managed to craft this knife in such a way that indeed that's what we have. Now, The blade steel is AEB-L. That is a highly tough, very corrosion-resistant stainless steel that was originally manufactured to make razor blades. And now they make all sorts of EDC, fixed blade knives, and especially chef's knives and cooking knives. So that is what Ed has used for the blade steel on this. He has sculpted his own handle scales out of Corian. Now that is a synthetic manufactured material that is used in many cases for cooking applications such as cutting boards and countertops. And so Ed has actually used this beautiful ocean swirl of a light blue, dark blues, and an ivory cream colored Corian material to sculpt these scales. The handle is sculpted more in a Coke bottle shape. So you can see how you have it a little bit thicker here. It tapers down right behind your location of your thumb and your index finger, and then gives you a little extra palm swell as you're holding that knife, and also gives you a nice area in the back to have that balance up against your palm when you're doing your slicing cuts. So a contoured, rounded, Coke bottle shaped handle scales out of Corian material. They are epoxy and pinned on to the blade. This is full tang construction. You can see the entire tang of the knife. It is the same height as the handle and runs the full length of the handle scales. I think we have three pin construction on this. Yes, 3 black pins that hold the scales onto the blade. And then if you can see here, sorry folks, we got a little bit of fingerprints, and I actually think I've got a little goo on here from kind of rubbing it down with some oil earlier. He has etched his Sol knife maker's mark, SOL, and the O is an actual kind of an Aztec or Spanish god symbol for the sun. So he has that on this side. And then on the other side, I've actually got a piece of tape because I've got personal information engraved on the blade, laser etched actually. I've got my daughter and my son-in-law and their marriage date. This was a gift to them from us on their wedding day. So I want to thank Ed for getting this knife together for that. Unfortunately, I think we've got a tiny little stain of some spaghetti sauce here. I'm going to have to do a little bleaching there, along with a little maybe possible light sanding there to get that stain off of that. But I'm kind of surprised that it's actually there, because Corian is a very stain resistant material. So I need to work on that just a little bit, but there you go. So reason I have the knife, besides showing it on a Fun Knife Friday, is they have owned this knife now for a little over 2 years, and it's about time for a sharpen. Now, when you purchase a knife from Ed Soul Crafts, one of the things that Ed offers, and I believe he is still offering, is he will do lifetime sharpenings for you. You just need to talk to him about those services, and I think he still offers that as a service. So we're going to go ahead and get this blade touched up and get it resharpened. All right. Now, the one thing about this chef's knife, as well as his 7-inch Santoku knife, which he also makes and currently has a model, I think, for sale on his website, is that it's got a really tall and a really sharp heel at the bottom of that blade. And you need to be careful when you use this, because if you're not, you can actually cut the back of your finger if you're a little sloppy on how you grab this knife and put it in your hand in order to do the work. Now again, you can hold it this way, but you could tend to cut your finger, and the proper way to hold this chef's knife is that pinch grip. So just to point that out, he has those heels on both his chef's knives and his Santokus. So just be careful when you go to use the knife. Now, he does his own leather work as well, so he can make you a knife. Again, he sells EDC fixed blades, he sells chef's knives, Santoku knives, and he even, I think, is offering slip joints at this point. He has one on the website that has Magna Cut steel in it, so you might check it out. Well, folks, that's going to do it for me. Go check out Ed's work again at www.edsoulcrafts.com. Ed also offers knife making classes in both forging and stock removal. If you're interested, go check him out. This is Byron from Splitting Slices saying split a slice with a friend soon. And as I resheath this knife and set it on the counter, I will say, everybody, please, until my next video, take care.